Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Is it any different?
Nah, it's the same quality, but I'm gonna try to turn you up completely on my end. Now say something real quick.
Yo.
This is probably the best quality mic I've ever had on here ever.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
I got this shit like 5 or 6 years ago when I first started producing. I was like recording songs and shit. I was like, dude, I had to cop a fire mic. It's like a Bluebird or something like that. I don't know. It's like $400. It's pretty expensive.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely like turn everything up like in post because my mic is basically around the same. It's not around like the same price range. I know that for a fact, but it's like spiking around the same volume that yours is right now. So should be
What
good.
about the quality here? It's like at the windows right here, so it just looks like a fucking like something.
It's like,
I
yo,
don't,
God's talking to you right now, bro.
I can, if you want, I can try my phone, but then that like completely like, I don't know. I'd have to like plug in some like earbuds or something. Like I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I think I'd say I'd stick with this. Like it should be fine. I'll just turn everything up.
Like,
Turn it down. Yeah, bro, just you could just do whatever right now. Like just to make it a little better. Like I know how webcams are. That's why I literally just closed all my blinds and everything just so I can get something. Cause if you didn't, this is what it normally looks like. Doesn't look bad because I got the blurred background, but this is what it would normally look like.
oh, that doesn't look bad. Are you on a webcam?
Yeah, I'm on a C920 right now from Logitech.
How much are those?
I got mine like 7, 8 years ago. It was like $50.
Oh, okay. Damn, probably a little more expensive now, but
Yeah, definitely.
like,
It was like last time I saw it was like $80, $70, but it was definitely worth it at that time.
well, should I do the blur here? I don't know. That looks kind of.
Bro,
I don't know.
uh, I think you'd be fine with like without it. I would say the one thing you could like black out your curtains on like your side, like this side, right? That's where I see it right now. Yeah, that's better. That's a lot better. I'd say don't worry much about like the video. I mean, everybody's gonna pretty much know like it's you.
Yeah. I mean, they're not coming here to see what we look like. They're coming to listen to the content anyway. So
Yeah, bro. Like, especially with that fucking mic quality, bro. What the fuck? I'm just like messed up right now because this is so weird. I think the only person that had like a decent sounding mic was the person I just interviewed last time, and also
who was that?
a little problem. He's
Oh,
like
God.
he's from Germany, but he has like this wide ass screen. I think he used his phone, but it was so weird like him having that quality for a camera. And then also I forgot who else it was. I think it was Vaughn that had like an actual mic.
Oh yeah.
Obviously because he streams all the time and makes videos.
Debating like where I should put this. There's really no way that I can like keep it out of camera, or else you probably wouldn't even be able to hear me. But
Oh no, nah, bro. I have this all the time. It's just like my shirt's black. It's like
yeah,
it
kind
kind
of
of
blends
blacks
in
out.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. But like, I mean, if you want to be comfortable with this, I'll just do it like this.
Oh, dude, no, you're good, bro. You're good.
Yeah, man. All right,
Sure.
bro.
I think we're set here.
I'm glad. I completely forgot to tell you, and I totally forgot myself. Like while we were setting up, I was recording, but like we're just gonna start from now.
Okay. That.
Oh man. Hopefully this might be in like the behind the scenes snippet at the very end of it, but that'd be the funniest thing on the planet.
Oh, yeah,
Alright,
dude.
bro. Let me just get one more link to your SoundCloud, especially like when I reference everything. But
You
how
got
did you
like layout of
Hmm?
like what you're gonna like. You got like a layout for what you're gonna be like talking about and shit, or
Yeah, similar to like I think if you probably read it or not, like when I sent it to you on Discord, it's sort
yeah.
of like the same format of everything. Like I have your name, I have what I'm gonna put for your description on like when this goes public on Spotify and YouTube. I think those are the only ones. A lot of people ask me if I'm gonna put it on SoundCloud. I might. It just depends, like in the future, but I
Not a
wouldn't.
bad idea. Like what Teddy Color be doing.
Yeah, I'd definitely be down to do it. I don't know. I just haven't had the time to actually like start a different page or like if I want to put it on my main page. So it really depends.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Welcome.
Oh man.
We've been in contact for like months at this point. I would say pushing it back, but it's just like our schedules just haven't been able to align to actually do this. But I'm actually glad that's actually happening now.
Me too, man. Me too. I wonder. A lot of people probably don't know that we've linked before.
Yeah, like think the only people that probably know would have to be when you came to Baltimore. It was actually a shock because I didn't know that you guys were actually gonna come out here at all until you guys actually made that post, and I was like, what? First time meeting? Because I would, and initially I thought you actually lived in Colorado with everybody because you did the show out there at the atrium, and then
Yeah.
we were talking at the I think the pizza place or like the bar that we met at, and then you just told we just had a whole, I don't even know how long that conversation was, but it felt like a couple hours at that point.
Dude, that pizza was fire, bro. The wood fire Wednesday.
No 6.6s.
Oh, fuck, man.
Man,
Forgot about that.
that video
Yeah.
was funny. That video was funny because everybody was shocked that, wait, he linked up with so many people, and like but
Shit, bro.
yeah, that's crazy. I was gonna say, like, gonna transition to like talking to you about that, but anybody that's wondering like when the video for like the Rhode Island show is coming out, Rhode Island show is coming out, and the Texas one, that will be coming. I just don't know when. It might come out like during, like, way before this video, but just want to keep everybody up to date. I'm just behind on a lot of people, but yeah, man, welcome. We got Everest in the building. Say what's up to the homies. What's up? Yeah, man, I'm glad that we are actually able to do this. I mean, like you said like a second ago, we definitely have connected beforehand and definitely talked about getting this to happen, but actually glad that we're able to get on on the same call for the first time. I mean, we've been pushing it back for a while, but you know, it happened. Like, it's recording. We're just glad that it's actually happening and everybody's here to watch it in the future when this actually goes public.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. So now let's get started. So first public track was titled Nostalgia, and I did go back about a few days ago to actually look at this because your discography is actually pretty recent, compared to a lot of other people that I've actually talked to, especially people that have been producing since maybe even before COVID or even around 2016, 2017, like a lot of people that we look up to in the actual community. And the description, it says it was uploaded on August 7th, but it was released on August 12th publicly of 2020. And it sounded like, I described it as, you had the elements there. It just, you knew that you were beginning the phases of becoming a producer or an artist, because you could definitely tell, not even a few years later, but a few months later, you had collabs and you had different tracks such as Reflection. You had a collab with Varo with Feeling and Torn. Who do you look for inspiration with those tracks when you were just beginning?
It's funny actually because Nostalgia wasn't the very first track I uploaded. I had one before that, but I ended up privating it just because I was listening back to it and I just was like, it's kind of mid. So I ended up putting it on private. That one's called Eclipse. A couple of the OGs might remember that one, but I think I privated that like year after I started releasing. But inspiration wise though, biggest is Necroez for sure. Like, I heard his music for the first time in early 2020, maybe like mid 2020, like kind of right around when COVID first hit. And because my buddy had introduced me to the genre, and I wasn't vibing crazy at first. Like, you know, I heard some stuff and I was like, yeah, it's all right, you know, and then found wave funk, or what wave funk was at the time, you know, Necroez, Sway 55, Varo. Who else was I listening to? Like Pet Senpai. Those were like the big ones. Yushi. I was listening to all of them, and I was like, damn, this is crazy, dude. Like, this is so fire. And I've always like leaned toward like wavier music anyway, so I was like, I just fell in love with it, man. I started producing a little bit, you know, like I was making funk tracks for maybe a few months, and then I was like, I made Eclipse and Nostalgia, and I was like, I'm ready to release this shit. That's where I took it, you know?
I know we've had this conversation, especially when we actually linked up when you did your first headline show in Baltimore. You've definitely done multiple shows within the last year, because during that conversation we also talked about, like, within the last year both of us, I guess, started DJing, especially when it came to like live shows and in front of crowds. Publicly, I was gonna ask, what is your actual background in music? Because I personally know, because we had the conversation, but I don't think a lot of people know your actual background in music.
Okay. Yeah. So music has just been a massive part of my life. You know, since I was a kid. My dad, he was like a DJ, not like a DJ that you would think of these days. He was a DJ at like a club for just like 25 years, and he just showed me all kinds of music growing up. I always just loved listening to really any kind of music. But then what really kicked it off is when I was like 9 or 10, I started playing the piano, and it just like it clicked. easy. Like I was homeschooling at the time with some buddies who were also playing piano, but I just like flew past them. Like I'd been playing for like 6 months and I was already doing like competitions and like recitals and shit. And like it was great, you know, like it's a good skill to have. And I definitely credit my producing abilities to that, because learning piano, learning music theory, just it helps me so much when I'm making like my melodies and shit for tracks, like because I know the notes and I know what chords go together and I know like music theory, and it's just it's a very very good element that contributes to my production abilities. Yeah, I did the piano for 5 or 6 years, then I got kind of burnt out on it, and I picked up the guitar when I was like, I mean, I got my first guitar when I was like 4 or 5, but I never really played it seriously until I was maybe like 13, 12, 13, 14 maybe. Yeah, I did the same thing with the guitar that I did with piano, and I just loved it. I fell in love with it. I was taking lessons for a while. Yeah, man, I still play them both to this day. Instrument wise, that's about it on my charts, you know, just the guitar and piano. I've tampered with bass before, you know, drums a little bit, but I'm definitely not nearly as good on the guitar or on those as the guitar and the piano. But production wise, I started producing in like 2017, like very late 2017. I was still in high school at the time, and I had a buddy who he was like, "Look at this, dude! Look at this!" And he was showing me FL Studio. I was like, "What the fuck is this, dude? I don't know what, like what." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I cracked it. I torrented it," and he was like making some beats or something, and I was like, "It was pretty cool, I guess." And then I went over to his house like the next week and he cracked it on my laptop for me. And it was up from there, man. I started producing just like crazy, dude. And like it was just crazy, man. That's all I was doing at the time for that first like 6 months. I just was producing every single day, making beats, you know, really just like rap beats and like, you know, trap beats. You know, I did some rock stuff too. But yeah, man, it's been up ever since.
Yeah, man. It sounds like a lot that you have been able to, I guess, formulate into your actual productions, because it seems like you've done it for a long time. And I know you're kind of a young guy. I think we're the same age. I think you're 23 or maybe even younger. You're 22. Jeez. Bro, it's kind of funny because when you said that, and then we were like right next to, I think, St. Pond and Corey, we seemed like the young bucks at that table. And like they didn't know like how old I was. They thought I was like in my late 20s, but like when I told them, they were just completely surprised by just the two of us just talking to each other. It was like, the youth of tomorrow.
Out of everybody that I've met in the community so far, like I don't think I've met anybody like younger than me. Like maybe a couple people that are my age, but it's like everybody's like mid to late 20s, you know, some like 30s and whatnot. So I definitely feel like a kid, but what you gonna do?
Yeah, man. So transitioning from obviously your age and your production and your background in that, what's your background in terms of, because I did go back to, obviously we talked about your first couple of tracks on SoundCloud. You have this euphoric sort of atmospheric aesthetic for each of your releases. What is the driving force to having that sort of aesthetic? Because there are a lot of people that describe your music as being euphoric, something that you can meditate to, something that you could just space out to, something that's sort of a bliss, or something that is pretty calming and soothing.
Honestly, man, I just love music that like touches the soul. Like you listen to it, you can just put on your headphones, close your eyes, and just let the music take you on a journey. You know, I love stuff like that. And that's why I kind of always gravitated towards like wavier music, because you know you don't, I wouldn't say that you get that same vibe that I just described with like, you know, like an intense like rap beat, or you know, like that really like gritty funk, you know, that stuff is great. You know, I definitely appreciate it. It's fun to produce at times, but it just doesn't take you on that like that same journey. You know, it doesn't pull you into the track, in my opinion, as much as like that euphoric like blissful like wavier music. And that's kind of just what drives me to make the genre and the style that I make, just because, you know, I want people to be able to listen to my tracks and just, you know, like I said, throw on the headphones, just close your eyes and just let the beat take you away, you know. Or even if you're just, you know, like driving your car and it's nighttime, you know, you just need something to just like zone out to and just you know, vibe away, you know. That's what I'm going for. So
Yeah, man, because I know obviously people used a ton of hashtags in their songs. I know And it's also on your link tree. It's a fun fact that I actually found you have your music described as, in quotations, cloud music, which I thought
Yeah.
was pretty funny because obviously it's basically that actual term because I listen to it all the time and it's sort of calming and soothing. Like if it's raining outside, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just put this on. I'm gonna put his tape on real quick.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So transitioning from your actual aesthetic to how you actually found funk. So who is the gateway producer or who led you to actually find the actual genre funk?
So my best friend at the time, he's actually a funk producer as well. He doesn't really release much, or he releases on some like different accounts here and there. But he goes by Medicine, META space SIN. Check him out. He's dope. Anyways, that was my best friend at the time, and we're still close to this day. But we were a lot closer back in like 2020. But he had been producing with me for basically since I started producing, and I think it was early 2020. We really started getting into like Ramirez and like Suicide Boys, of course. You know, they're the OGs. Like Devilish Trio, that whole like underground like funk rap scene. You know, like G59, all that, and it was dope. I was listening to it, and then he discovered the um like the actual like SoundCloud genre of funk. You know, like Sudier and all of them. And he introduced me to it because he released a track, and it started to get some traction, and I was like, shit, that's dope. Because like we had been releasing like beats and songs for years at the time, and just never really got anywhere. But I saw that he was getting some traction with this funk track, and I was like, yo, like that's dope, like I need to get into this shit. And but like I said before, it just never really clicked crazily until I discovered like the wave funk aspect. I think the very one of the very first things that I fell in love with or projects was the retrograde tape from Necroez that he released back in this around the same time that I discovered it, and I heard that, and it was just I still listen to it to this day. It's just amazing project. But yeah, my friend, he was the one that introduced me to the genre. So
Yeah, man. Going back to Necros, I think how I got connected to him, and this is like off topic, but I think it was Undercurrent. Like that was the album that had me connect to Necros because initially I listened to him through Holy Mob, and like I think he created like the biggest track that they have on their Spotify right now. I think it's
he
from
did
I think it's volume 7 or volume 8.
Volume 8.
It's volume 8 because I know I can like envision the actual artwork right now because I know volume 9 it has Crave
Yeah,
Digger, and then volume 8 is probably like the most well-known album that people go to when they talk about Holy Mob. But when I went to his actual discography, it was Undercurrent. I think it had a collab with Eric D, like 3 or 4 other people, and then
oh yeah,
it was like a 6-minute song, and I listened to that thing from front to back. It was so dope.
that song's so good, man.
Yeah, but I can't remember off the top of my head, but all I know it had like 4 or 5 different collabs on it, and I just go straight to that song every single time.
Yeah, I think it's Necros, of course, Daishin, Eric
Mm-hmm.
D, and Varo.
Yeah, and also Varo, like he has a tape on Spotify. It has Spark and Sorrow, and I think it's called Virtual. I think it's
Yeah,
called Virtual. Like
it is.
I can't
Remember
pull up
that.
my Spotify right now, but like if he came out with another tape, I know like he's probably doing other stuff when it comes to photography and everything. But if he
Yeah.
came out with another tape, I'm on that shit. I'm on that shit right as soon as he releases it.
I wish he would keep producing funk, but I think he's just kind of burnt out on it. He's doing really good with the photography and like his placements with whatnot. And he's making like a bunch of like glow beats and shit. He's doing really good with that. So I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah, man. All right. This is going to be a mouthful, and this is going to be a big question.
Okay.
So collabs that you have already done consist of Apache 94, Backwhen, Sway 55, Necros, Varo, Eric D, Freddie Confetti, which I actually didn't know about. There are a lot more other people that I talked about probably earlier, and you were also featured on the SoundCloud tape "Funk Dominates the World" Volume 1. It took me a second to actually remember which actual volume it actually was, but who is someone that you wish to collab with in the future that I actually didn't name off?
Man, that's a thinker, dude. I've collabed with so many people over the years. It's crazy. But somebody that I haven't collabed with, Like in the Phonk community,
It
or
could be
is
it could be anybody, honestly. Like, because I remember this could be a question that you can also do on top of this, like a secondary question. But I remember asking somebody if there was like somebody you would collab with outside of Phonk and inside of Phonk. They gave me two different answers. But you could also do inside the community, outside the community. A lot of people. One person said like a rapper. Like that could also be an answer that you could give, but it could be a producer, artist, rapper, anybody.
I think 100% the one person that I have not worked with yet that I would like to work with is Escape, and maybe like some other people in that like wave like bass genre. But yeah, no, I know Escape. He's really busy. He's got a lot going on. But I hope that we can get something going here in the future. I think an Everest X Escape collab would go crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like that Backwhen EP that he did with him
Yeah,
back in the, I think it was like last year. That went really dope.
Ice Walk. It was probably Ice Walk.
Mm-hmm.
That's just hard.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, when you said Wave, I instantly thought of Barnacle Boy and Skeller. Like, those are like the first two
Yeah,
names that I thought of.
yeah, they're definitely dope. I mean, it'd be cool to work with them, but it's like it's not like a dream or anything. I'm honestly really happy just kind of continuing my own stuff. I love collabing with people, but it's like I just I also like pushing my own image and showing people what I can do like on my own.
Yeah, so I think we kind of had like have the same mindset when it comes to like having a name for ourselves, because this is sort of like why I don't collab with that many people, because I want to drop something that is sort of like I didn't get carried by a collab, because I feel like a lot of people get bottlenecked when it comes to that, especially like if you're an artist or a producer in general. It's like, oh, this is my best work, but I have all this other stuff that I released and people just don't know about it. So that's actually really interesting that we had like that similar mindset. So going back to, I know we talked about headlining in Baltimore and your DJing journey. You publicly have a back-to-back on Backwhen's channel that you did, I think either earlier 2024 or late 2023, I can't remember specifically. And you also have a mix that you actually did at the Atrium, if I'm actually right, on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Firstly, what sparked you to actually begin performing shows across the country and to finally actually connect with the Funk Around guys or the Funk Around group?
So it was like late 22 maybe. It was around when I first started working with Backwhen, and he was telling me that they were doing these like the monthly shows at the Black Box, which they don't do anymore, unfortunately. But they were doing those every month, if you remember. And he was like, "We got to get you out for a show. Got to do it. Come on, get you out to Denver." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure, for sure." And like, we finally made it happen in May of 2023, and I had no DJing experience whatsoever. I had never touched any sort of equipment, anything like that. But yeah, I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it." And yeah, I went out to Denver. I linked with Beck, of course, and he took me over to Neil's place, his manager. Or manager agent, same difference, but yeah, he had a deck over there, and Beck kind of just showed me real quickly, showed me the ropes, and I that was pretty much up from there. I did the show like the next night, and I was nervous as fuck, of course. But yeah, I mean, it went really well. And yeah, I mean, Corey was at the show, and he was like, "Yo, like that was your first time ever like touching decks?" And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." And like he was like, "Yo, hell yeah, dude." And he told me that he wanted to get me on the agency like right then and there. But it was just still up in the air at the time. But then the next show I played was a couple months later in Atlanta, which was sick because I'm Atlanta native. I live like 20 minutes north of the city. But yeah, it was the very last show of the End of Underground tour, and such a fire experience. But everybody came to ATL. I played that show. Corey really liked my set, and that was it. That's when I got on the agency, and that's when I started to meet a lot of the Funk Around guys. And yeah, it was definitely probably still one of the favorite shows that I've played for sure. But yeah, it's just been up from there. Actually, I bought some of my own decks, like I think maybe a month or two after the ATL show, and I started learning and practicing and teaching myself how to DJ. And yeah, I love it. It's fun, man. Just to be able to get up on stage and just play my music for people and have them dance, get lit or whatever. It's a blessing come true, man. It's nothing I ever thought I would experience, but I'm grateful, and I hope to just keep going up with it. So
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm actually glad that it's kind of rare in the scene to have people that can make music and DJ. I know Enoch Lips talked about it when we actually had conversations together, and he still talks about it with Imperium and Hoodie all the time. Like, we need more people to learn how to DJ, so like they can have different variations when it comes to the actual show. I think probably something they could also do is like, I really don't have any critiques because they're doing such a great job, and I really don't know that side of the music industry at all. They're just doing like God's work at this point when it comes to the community. Like, I don't have anything to critique. They did amazing when it came to like scaling back, getting more people to come out to the shows, which is a great thing. Yeah, I really wish I could have any critiques for them, but I honestly really don't, because I mean, they know what they're doing at the end of the day, and they're putting a lot of people on in general.
100%, bro. Phonk around is goated.
Yeah, definitely. So we're still talking about DJing. How easy or how difficult was the initial beginning from practicing in your house and transitioning that to a live crowd? Because you talked about it in like your last answer. You started obviously from that previous conversation that you had with Backwhen, and then transitioning to that, and then buying your own decks. So how easy was that transition going from a space inside someone's house to performing in a live crowd?
It was definitely, it was interesting, you know. I mean, it was like, because you think you'll practice at home and you know you're like, oh, I got this, you know, like I got it down, and then once you actually get up in front of people, it's like you almost like forget everything that you taught yourself. But it's once you get in the groove, you know, it's fun, you know. It's like, it's just that initial, at least for me, like for the shows that I've played, it's like that initial like getting up and still looking at you, you know, all eyes are on you. It's just, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's definitely nerve wracking, but you know, once you get in the groove and you see that people are just there to have a good time and just vibe to the music, it's like it becomes a lot easier. And of course, you know, with time, the more shows that you play and the more experience you get with it, it's obviously becomes muscle memory at that point. But the transition from going from my house to actual shows, it was great. You know, I mean, like I love it, man. I've loved every minute of it. I've loved all the people that I've met. You know, it's I still have so much to learn though too. I mean, you know, I'm always, you know, trying to critique my abilities, and you know, like when I listen back to my sets, you know, I'll be like, okay, I could have done this better, or could have done this transition differently. You know, I'm always trying to grow and better myself.
Yeah, man, definitely. So this isn't a question, but I would say, what's one thing that you would tell your past self to, in some terms, like a piece of advice you would give your past self if you just started either producing or DJing?
Piece of advice, that's, I don't know, maybe just to not care about what people might think of a song, or like a DJ set, or like just a transition. Maybe it's like just not to overthink things, you know. Just if you think something's good, just release it, you know. It's like, and if you up there DJing and you hit a transition and it's like, as long as you think it was good, like just rock with it, you know. I mean, like, because I used to overthink a lot, and like I still do sometimes, where it's like I'll make something and I'm like, you know, like this is good, but it's like, you know, what if people don't like it? Or like if I make something a little different from my usual style, you know, I'll be very hesitant to release. And I'm just like, man, you know, what if people don't like it? This is kind of different from what I usually do, blah, 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 you know. And it's like, that's definitely something that I would, because I definitely struggled with that more early on in my career. Um, but but yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely getting a lot better with that. And if I could go back and tell myself that like 2 or 3 years ago, that's definitely what I would say.
Yeah, man, definitely. So you obviously talked about Backwhen. This is gonna transition into collaborating with him on the two tapes. Specifically, I want to get it right. Internal Connection and Give Yourself Some Time, that you guys both released within the span of less than 2 years, because first tape was dropped the end of 2022 and the last tape was dropped, I'm trying to get the date right, June 30th of 2023. So how's it been actually collaborating with Backwhen on both those tapes? Because outside looking in, this is just from my perspective, it seems like your both of your guys' style blend perfectly together, especially when it comes to all those songs. Doesn't matter if it's a feature from somebody else, it seems like both of you guys are able to bounce off each other when it came to each one of those tracks on both of those tapes. So how did that collaboration process actually work between you two?
Like butter, bro. Like as soon as me and Beck started working, it was like we just clicked, you know. Like he reached out to me, I think maybe like mid 22, and the first track we made was "Can You Hear Me?" I'm not sure if you've heard that one before. A lot of people love that song though. It's definitely a classic. But yeah, ever since that track, you know, like just it's just butter, bro. Like he just, you know, he's got such a good workflow. Like I'll send him a track, and then like one day later he sends it back. I'm like, bro, this is crazy, dude. You know, and it's like saying, you know, he'll send me something, and it's like I feel like, you know, we definitely bring out the best in each other's production abilities. You know, like I'll make something and like I'll be like, okay, this is all right, you know, this is cool, and I'll send it over to him, and he just like brings the track to life, you know, and it's like vice versa. Yeah, I love working with him, man. You know, we still work to this day. You know, you probably saw we just put out a track a couple of weeks or like a week ago actually, and we're putting
Yeah.
out another one this Friday as well. But yeah, man, definitely one of my favorite artists I've worked with. Not only a great producer, but a great guy. You know, I mean, I wasn't sure what to think when I was going to meet him, you know, but he's super down to earth. And I definitely appreciate him for putting me on somewhat to like the whole Spotify scene, because before I was working with him, like my Spotify was, you know, it was cool. I had maybe like 1,000 monthly listeners, you know, I had some fans, but it was like nothing crazy. But then we made the tapes, and those just absolutely took off, and a bunch of his fans came over to my page, and then, you know, it really boosted my my fan base on Spotify, and like even like Apple Music too. And like I definitely appreciate him for that, because, you know, even to this day, a lot of those fans stuck, and, you know, I continually have, you know, around like 8-9,000 monthly listeners still, so, and I'm very grateful for that. But like I keep saying, man, I hope to only keep going up from here. So
Yeah, man, it definitely sounds like your trajectory, big word right there, but like you definitely have like your goals set in mind. Like you definitely don't know like what the future holds, but I definitely can tell that you have a lot in store for the future in general, whether it's music or anything else. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man. So, what is the actual backstory of the origins of the name Everest? Because I've been trying to ponder like many things, but I'm hoping that it's like something deep, or if it was like a spur of a moment thing. But I just want to know like what was the actual origin story of your actual name of Everest?
So I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's nothing too deep here. Um, like I said, I mentioned earlier that I had been releasing music with a buddy of mine, a couple of buddies of mine actually, on like SoundCloud. You know, he released like beats, some songs, whatever here and there. I mean, I was going by some different names before, and once I started, you know, discovering Phonk and realized that I wanted to release Phonk, I was like, you know, I need a new name. I need something, you know, just something better, something cool. And one day it just came to me, honestly. Like I was just driving and I was just thinking, I was like, Everest with a Y. I was like, that's pretty cool, you know? I kind of, sometimes I'll say that, you know, like I'm a rock climber. I love rock climbing. I love mountains. I love outdoors, anything like that. So it's like, you know, Everest, mountains, you know, it kind of relates, you know? I mean, there's no crazy backstory or like super like deep origin with it, unfortunately. But, you know, I think it's stuck. I think it fits my vibe, you know, it's people seem to think it's cool. So, you know, that's basically it. Nothing too crazy with it.
Okay, man. Yeah, I was just wondering because for the life of me, I was like, we've definitely had conversations. I don't even think I even asked you that when we were actually talking, like when we were actually like having dinner or anything. But that was actually kind of cool. That was actually kind of cool. Also, that was actually, I think the first vlog I ever did in general when it came to like live shows. But how was like your experience headlining in Baltimore, and like how was that video overall like a reflection of how the show actually went? Because like I've seen that video so many times, like going back and forth editing it, but I just want to ask, like, how did it feel like overall for you?
It felt good, man. It was, you know, it was a really fun time, you know, like hanging out with everybody and meeting everybody. And, you know, because actually that was the first show that I did without Backwhen. So like all the shows that I'd done before that, I used to kind of like rely on him for, you know, questions or be like, you know, like what do I do here, blah blah blah. Because you know he kind of was like my mentor DJ wise, I guess you could say. So that was kind of the first time I was just like on my own. I was just like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna get up here and just wing it, man. But it was a great experience. It was super cool to meet everybody, like I said, and everybody that came out. You know, it was just fun, man. It was a good time. And in reference to the video and the vlog or whatever, it definitely was a good reflection of how everything went. I look back on it, you know, I laugh. You know, it's good memories, man. Great memories, you know. I wish I could relive it, but you know, that's why we're here, just keep making more memories. So
Yeah, definitely. Like it's funny that you say that because this literally just happened this week, and like it also happened like another week or two ago, but people like reference old videos that I've made in terms of like the interviews that, or the people I interview, and the what is funk video, like me defining like my definition of like what funk is. And it's crazy like how one thing has like a ripple effect and people know you from just one thing. Like it's still hitting me, like it still hasn't hit me to this day that I've connected with so many people or just talked to so many people and had these conversations. I don't know when it's gonna hit me, honestly.
dude, I don't think it's hit me either, man. It's crazy, dude. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, because like just hearing, I think the one time that it actually shocked me would have to be the 1 year when it came to Funk Around, and that was the first ever sold out show I've ever heard the genre have ever. And it was just shocking that all this started from the internet.
Crazy, bro. It's crazy. I'm so grateful to be a part of this, you know, and the part of the family, and especially considering that I'm not really like an OG of the genre, you know, like I didn't discover funk until past that, you know, like that prime like 2017, 2018 SoundCloud era. And you know, like just the fact that I was able to, you know, get into the community so quick, and now I'm here today, you know, part of the crew, Funk Around crew, and meeting all these people and working with people like Backwhen, who's obviously an OG of the genre. And yeah, bro, it's crazy. I'm very blessed, man. I hope to see the genre just keep moving up from here.
Yeah, man, definitely. So this is actually new news because you guys just created an entire tape within the last month or two. But I know you talked about Sway 55 and your most recent collabs, and I just forgot to bring it up. How's that collab with Sway 55 versus the last tapes that we probably already talked about before when it came to collabing with other people or just having an entire solo album? Because I know Finding Myself was your first ever tape where you didn't have any features or anything on. So how is that transition from having two collab tapes to having your own solo collab tape to collaborating with Sway 55 on Chasing Ghost?
Well, collaborating with Sway, just great. I always love working with him. You know, we sometimes we'll send projects. You know, he'll send me something, then I'll send it back, and then he'll send me it again. You know, just goes on. You know, until we just get the final product. We put a lot of work into that tape for sure. We had been working on it we had been talking about it for like over a year now. We were like, man, we got to make this tape. Come on, let's do it. And it's like we had a couple tracks, you know, kind of on the back burner that we were saving for the tape. But then in like March, maybe April, right around there, maybe even May, I don't know. That's when we buckled down. We were like, yo, let's finish this shit. Let's release a tape. It's time. A lot of people enjoy some of our previous collabs that we had released, like Enchantress and Hyperion. I'm sure you've maybe heard at some point. But yeah, so great working with Sway. I wish he was in the States so that we could link up and whatnot. But he's from Turkey actually.
Jeez.
Yeah. But not to disclose any information. I'm sorry.
Bro, that's funny. That's funny you say that because it's funny every time when people are like, "Oh, you're that far or that close." It's
Yeah.
kind of eye opening that just we know people all around the world. It's kind of cool.
It's crazy, dude. It's so dope. But yeah, no, I mean, just I always enjoy working on a tape. You know, it gives me drive to just keep producing. It's like, when I sit down and produce, if I don't have like a goal set in mind, it's like I'm like sometimes I'm just lost. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Like I'll open FL Studio and just kind of like mull around for a little bit. I'm like, I just don't know what to do here. But when I have a tape to work on, whether it's a collab tape or a solo tape, it's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, make some shit for the tape, you know, work on what I already have. You know, it's like it's a fun process, you know. And I used to be kind of like dingy about like the amount of music that I would release, but that kind of, you know, changed when I started releasing with Bet, because we put out 2 tapes, you know, back to back, you know, like 9 songs and then like 12 songs, and it's like that's like 20 songs within like 6 months, and you know, it kind of changed my outlook on it. And you know, it's always fun though. I always love working on tapes, man. So
Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited to hear like any work in the future, and it's fun. I remember I told you when you actually in Baltimore, because one of my best friends, she was literally she's such a, I don't even know how to explain like who she actually is, but she's such a introvert, and she was fanboying or fangirling to see you. And then I texted her, it's like, yo, I have an extra ticket, do you want to come? And she was like, I'm so nervous, I don't want to go. but then like I said, okay, cool. And it's like, what do you want anything? And she was like, just get a picture with him. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I sent her the picture, like I think it was either the morning that we left after the after party, but she was like, there is no way that she met him. And we just kept talking about
me, bro.
Yes, yeah, like your show, like when you were in Baltimore, and like, bro, I was like, what? There is no way.
That's wild, bro.
And the crazy thing is, I don't even think she's even seen the video. Like, she's only seen like the photos that I took. So if I show her the video, she's just gonna, her brain's about to explode. Like, I'm telling you this right now, because she loves like that wave style. Like, she loves Sidewalks and Skeletons. She loves Skeller, Barnacle Boy. Her dream is to go see Sidewalks and Skeletons. I already know that for a fact, but like, she was like, there's no way you met him. And then I showed her the photo on my phone. I was like, here you go. And I was like, bet.
That's crazy, bro.
That was the funniest thing that actually happened, like the week after. And she was just like, oh my gosh, the whole time.
That's wild, bro.
I thought, man, I just thought it was the funniest thing on the planet. And then like, I think it was the last photo, like when I think Win had the flower in his mouth on the stage. I think it's on my Instagram. I thought that was the funniest thing on the planet. But yeah, man. So these are the last 2 portions of like us talking in general, and then we could definitely go off script after this for maybe like another 20 to 30 minutes if you want to, if you're cool with that. But guest call outs, and you were called out specifically by Backwhen. So the very first video I ever did on this channel, in terms of this format or this interview style, I think you were the only person that he called out for that video. I could probably go back, but he definitely called you out. He was like, get Everest on here. That'll be probably a sick video to actually get, or a sick conversation to talk to him for. And then the Funk Around to Find Out crew initially called you out too as well. They called out you, and they also called out Local Stranger as well. So this is your time to call out anybody that has not been on a video yet, or if you want a part 2 for anybody, if that's even possible. But it could be either or, if you want that to be a thing for this question.
Have you done one with Local yet?
I have, yes.
Okay, I think I don't remember. I feel like I would have watched that, but you've been hitting everybody, bro. Like, you're all around the scene. The one person that I'd want to see an interview with is probably Necroez, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if he'd be down, just because he's not even like making funk right now. He's not like, I don't know, he's kind of veered from the genre, unfortunately. I hope he gets back to it someday, because he's so good. But of course, you know, that'd be great to see. Anybody else that comes to mind is, I don't know, maybe like Sway 55. I don't know. I mean, that'd be cool. But yeah, like I said, you've been hitting everybody, bro.
I still don't know how I'm able to get these guys on here. I don't know if it's a charm or something, if I'm like cool to work with or chill to talk to or anything. But like, apparently they really enjoy like having a conversation or having a video that doesn't revolve over just promoting, or just something that's, I guess, original in the sense of this community. It's like a breath of fresh air, like a lot of people describe it.
What you're doing is great, man. You're bringing like a whole new level to the community. You know, it's like before it was just SoundCloud, And now it's like, shows are starting to develop. Now the shows are like really developing. And now, we have people like you that are putting out like content, about the artists and about their lives and about their musical journeys. And I think the fans really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. But I really appreciate everybody because, like I said earlier, shocking the amount of times that people. It was only like 2 or 3 DMs, but it's just shocking. They reference a specific video or a specific person I talked to, and they're like, after that, I was hooked. So I was, I was just like, damn, I inspired you to watch more. That's crazy. Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but last one would have to be guest questions, and this can be literally about anything. I always leave this for the end because I feel like there's a lot of people that obviously it's about the artist I talk about, but also like if anybody wants to know any questions or if the guest wants to ask any questions to me, this is basically the time that you'd be down to ask any questions about me or just ask me any questions.
Okay. Shit, bro. I mean, how long have you been listening to funk? Like, when did you discover the genre?
I
Like, are you
love it.
like an OG fan of like the old days, or like you newer like me, or like?
I love this question a lot because I've gotten this asked so many times. So initially I found funk. I didn't find funk until first producer was between a series Jason Rich, which was 2017 and 2018. I found it through a rapper, Young Gravy, and Baby No Money that Jason Rich actually executive produced a lot of tracks for. And then got COVID. I was stuck in my room for the longest time, and then that's when Vaughn, or as we know, Yakai, came out with those videos on how Purple Posse, Holy Mob, and Always Proper changed the funk community in general. And then I went through the rabbit hole of listening to the Purple Posse tapes. I found out that Aseri produced one of Young Gravy's oldest tracks because it was the exact same song that he actually had on one of his tapes. Jason Rich, I found out about because he collabed. I think it was on volume 10 or issue 10 of Purple Posse's tapes, and then through that I found Holy Mob, AP, especially like their old tapes before they re-uploaded everything. And then through, I would say, I told Freddie Confetti, he just flew over from America, but I told him in the video I did with him, I started the videos out of pure boredom because I was sick for like 3 to 4 months, and I was like, what do I do? So I just was on Instagram. I saw that, I think it was Teddy Color, he was doing interviews. Obviously Vaughn was dropping videos together, and I was like, I need something different, or I need something that's different from the styles that they had, because obviously they got a documentary style and they also have like a podcast or a mixed DJ type style. So how could I blend something that isn't straight up copying them? So I did like the funk news, like the funk monthly stuff. Then I transitioned to, I think it was What is Funk, and like breakdowns of certain tapes. And then after that, I started brainstorming different video ideas, and then I came up with this video idea, and I actually found this through Chat GPT when they made it free. and that's how I came up with this idea of like interviewing like my favorite artists, producers in general, because I would say my philosophy during COVID was, if I can't DM them on Instagram and they don't respond in like a day or two, then I wouldn't listen to them. And sometimes I still follow that rule. If I'm not able to reach you IRL or like on Instagram, or if you're like a little difficult to talk to, then I'll probably just not have you as much in my rotation. But if you're like on my radar a lot, then I'll definitely have you in my rotation a lot, it still holds up because everybody that I've talked to, I still listen to their music a lot, and I support them a lot. So I guess it's just a win-win on each person's front.
Do you have if you could only pick like 1 or 2 of funk artists just to listen to forever and like listen to nobody else, like do you have certain artists that you would pick, or is that just like too hard of a question to answer?
Would it be like, could I make it like a collective, or like did it have to be like just one artist, or like 1 or 2 artists?
Yeah, it's like artists. Just curious. Some people probably wouldn't even be able to answer that, but
I wish I could say Barrymane, but I don't listen to him as much as I used to. Roland Jones, definitely that. And a cop out answer would be Studier, just because like he makes really good stuff, but he hasn't really produced that much recently. Oh man, Roland Jones is one. I already know that for sure.
he's a legend, man.
Yeah, yeah, like he produces way too much stuff for me not to listen to it. Like,
Yeah, yeah, such a massive discography.
yeah, like drum and bass, UKG, like house stuff, hip hop, obviously funk and trap. Like I could listen to literally anything and it would sound different or be different. Damn. I would say Backwhen too. Cause I could also go to like his archive account too. And he has a lot of stuff in his archive.
He has a huge discography.
Yeah, like, but I would say those are my two answers. Like, I would listen to Roland Jones and Backwhen, honestly. Like, my cop out. I wish it could be Studier or like Vamp, but they really don't produce as much as they used to. Like, even if it's just producing a beat for a rapper, they don't produce as much as they used to. I mean, they might have stuff in their vault when it comes to that, and I know a lot of people have a lot of works in progresses, especially when they share it on their story, but publicly, I would say whoever takes the cake for those two would have to be Backwhen and Roland Jones for me. Plus, they got so many features, and I could cheat just a little bit.
For sure, man. That's the thing with me too. Is I have a private SoundCloud playlist of all the features that I've been a part of, and it's just like I look at it, I'm like, I don't even remember half of these fucking collabs, bro. Like, it's just crazy, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm more limited to who I collab with nowadays, though. It's like back in the day, like when I was first like taking off, I was like anybody that hooked me up to collab, I'd be like, yo, fucking do it, bro. But now it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really even have time to work with, a lot of people nowadays. But yeah, I still like to be limited though. Plus, it's like, like just like with like randos. Like there's still some people that like I'd always be down to work with, of course, especially if it's like a homie or something. But like I said earlier too, I also like to just push myself as an individual artist as well. But I'm kind of rambling now, so.
Nah, you're good, bro. I think I talked about this earlier. I talked about this recently too. It's like same person, Freddie Confetti, like on his video. I talked about me not collabing with a lot of people, and obviously people when I say this is you are more likely to gravitate towards a video over a one-off collab, like similar to how people talk about, oh, I found you through so and so's interview, or I found you through this video that you did. I feel like people are more attracted towards a video rather than a one-off collab, because obviously not trying to give you as an example, but the tape, it was really good. It was just, if you just did it with like a bunch of random people that nobody knew about, they would only know that person because of that collab that they did on your tape. Versus if you do something different, or if you have multiple people, they'll be like, oh, that's Everest. I found out more about him from this video, or like, oh, local, I listened to his music, there's an interview about him, I never knew. And then they'll just click that, and then it's a win-win situation, like I said earlier. And also the fact that I'm still kind of getting used to finding my own sound when it comes to production, so I don't think I'm ready to like start collabing with a bunch of people. I mean, I have in the past, but I get people say like my production style is really nice and everything, or it's really hard, or it's really chill, but I just don't feel as comfortable with my production style to have somebody come on a collab or do something. I mean, I do one-off collabs, but it's very rare to have somebody ask me for a collab. But I'd rather do a video over a one-off song that someone will probably forget about in the future.
That's understandable. I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, man. I don't think anybody's asked me for a collab before. I think maybe one or two people, but I'd be shocked if somebody asked me for a collab on music, because people probably know me more from my videos than my actual music, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah,
Hmm?
it came as a surprise that you produced, actually, because I knew you were doing the videos and whatnot. And then I think I found out you produced when it was one of the beat battles or something. Like when you had, I think it was like a submission that you put in. I was like, he's producing too. Like, oh yeah, bro, that's dope though, man. It's dope to be like versatile. So.
Yeah, man. I remember, I think it was Bad Kids, like he talked about how I'm literally, I wish I could say I'm literally everywhere, but it seems like I'm everywhere at this point, because I'm either dropping a song or I'm dropping a video or I'm dropping an interview with somebody. I don't know why I
bro.
just did that. I was just messing with my screwdriver, but and also doing the videos. And then he got me to actually start DJing. I want to shout out Bad Kids in St. Paul for doing that. That video will, I don't know when the hell that'll come out, but I literally just did it the middle of July. So yeah, the story is funny because I literally lost my tracks the day of the show. Like they wouldn't read on the actual decks, so I literally had to do everything by ear. Like it wouldn't read on the actual deck, so I had to guess the BPM and had to do everything by ear. So I was fucked, but I was able to actually do like a 30 to 45 minute set, and it was pretty dope. I think Phonklyfe came out to actually he did a couple of videos for me like during my set. I think you've probably seen him around, like pop up in the people's feeds.
I recognize that name.
Yeah, it's Phonk Lyfe, but I didn't even know he was actually from Virginia.
Oh shit.
I like he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna pull up to the show," and I was like, "Huh? You're kidding?" And then like while we were doing sound check, he literally came, he's like, "Yo, Danny," and then a whole like his whole art on his actual shirt, and I was like, no way. And I just had to read it, and I was just processing while I was like practicing a little, and it was the funniest thing on the planet.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about these shows, man. It's like you develop these like internet relationships with people, and then it's like once you finally meet them at the shows, it's just like it's crazy, bro. It's surreal almost.
Dude, I think the first time they let me backstage was the first and the underground show that they did for that tour, and I didn't even know that they knew who I actually was. It's crazy. I think the only person that knew me was St. Pond and Imperium at the time. So bro, I don't even know what to say. Like it's just crazy that I know them on like a first name basis now. It's kind of dope. It's kind of cool. It's really cool, honestly.
So, man, love the Phonk family, bro.
Dude, like I don't even know where I would be without like their support in general, because they definitely supported me for these videos, and they definitely promote me a lot, and I don't even ask them to do that.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So you got any more questions that you want to ask me?
I think we're all set here, honestly.
Yeah, man. You definitely got your guest call outs, and my bad. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say if there's anything else off the top of your head you want to ask me.
Is there anything that we could be in store for the future in terms of drops or any future tapes that you could spoil just a little bit but not give that many details?
Well, I'm certain that there will be another tape with Backwhen here. I don't know when. We were kind of starting one, but then we kind of slowed on the gas put a little bit, and we kind of stopped making tracks as much as we were. But that's why we dropped Love Spell a week ago, and then we're dropping another one this Friday. But I guess this video will probably be out after it drops, I assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's, you know, I just take my drops like one at a time, you know, like I don't really go into like, okay, I'm gonna drop this at this time and then this at this time, you know. I kind of just wing it, you know. I try not to go too far in between my drops, but sometimes I struggle with that, and like it'll be like 3 months later and I'm like, fuck, I need to drop something. But yeah, man, yeah, nothing crazy on the horizon, but always new music on the way.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited. Any call outs that you want to have, any promotion, any shout outs to anybody that you want to say, and then we're just gonna wrap it up after this. Anything?
Yeah, no, huge shout outs to the Phonk Around crew, man. Corey, Hoodie, Imperium, they're just great guys, you know. Huge love to them for bringing this new level to the community, you know, with the shows and the, you know, it's such a great way to develop relationships with, you know, fans and other artists and other producers and whatnot. So yeah, huge shout out to them, the whole Phonk Around crew. Everybody's super talented. Huge shout out to Mr. Backwhen, you know, he's goated, man. He's the legend, man. Yeah, bro, everybody that I've met, you know, I haven't met a single bad soul, man. Everybody's been so cool, so down to earth, man. Just awesome, man. It's been great. So shout out to the entire Phonk community, honestly.
Yeah, man, but we appreciate you, and we're actually glad that you're actually a part of this community, because there are a lot more things. Even though a lot of people say Phonk's dead, I really doubt that Phonk's gonna go away, but it's glad that we were able to bring like another layer to this community.
Yeah, bro, it's not dead. It's just evolving. You know, it's not what it used to be, but it's changing and growing. That's how it goes with everything. So any music genre is gonna change and evolve over time. So same thing with funk. You know.